My knife drop dish is a dish that my mum would prepare at home, usually on special occasions. It has that comforting feel to it. I wanted to do my own interpretation, but still keep that memory of the really great, hearty, soulful dish. My name is Rex De Guzman. I am the chef and founder of Turo Turo, which is a Filipino barbecue and grill concept. I'd say it's a really good blend between modern and tradition. I think that we've hit a really good fine line when it comes to sticking to traditional Filipino flavors and representing what the original dishes are, but also adding our own sort of modern presentation to the food. I would describe Filipino cuisine firstly with the flavor profile. So it's salty, sweet and sour. So for example, we use a lot of vinegars or citrus fruits, and we use a lot of unique ingredients such as bagoong, which is like a fermented shrimp paste. I love how diverse Filipino food is because there's so many cultural influences. For example, the Spanish colonization, our neighbors in China and Malaysia, or even the American US influence into our food. And that's why our cuisine is considered the original fusion, which I love. Joining the Jamie Oliver Cookbook show was a huge achievement for me because I was able to represent Filipino cuisine and share my passion and my work for Filipino food. And to be able to represent Filipinos here in the UK and Filipino food was like just huge. To be able to cook for Jamie and the judges and show a little bit of our culture and our cuisine, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah, my goal for Turo Turo is really to build a scalable Filipino barbecue and grill restaurant. I really believe in building something that is kind of like your go-to Filipino restaurant. There's a lot of exciting Filipino brands here in the UK now, but I really feel like it's now time to introduce something into the mainstream, and I think Turo Turo has that potential to do that. Filipino food is definitely up and coming. I see it being the next big cuisine here in the UK. I've spent the last 10 years of my life studying Filipino food and really pioneering and pushing it forward. And I can see in those 10 years how much the cuisine has progressed. My knife drop dish is beef croquette kare. It's my interpretation of an oxtail stewed in peanut butter. So we stew the oxtail for about 4 hours until it's very, very tender. And what I do is I pull the meat off the bone so that it's super flaky, and we press it into kind of a mold to create some croquettes. And we use the stock to make like a peanut stew sauce. And then we serve that with some sauteed green beans, some fried aubergine and a little bit of pak choy. And it's just a really great, hearty, soulful dish. So this dish in particular is, number one for me, one of the most comforting dishes that my mum would make. It's generous, it's always made in large batches and usually for special occasions. It has that comforting feel to it. And I wanted to include something that was not what you would usually find in Filipino food. Traditionally, the oxtail is just whole, stewed and super, super tender. And you would serve it in a large pot and you would just spoon that onto your rice. But we wanted to refine it a little bit by pulling the meat off the bone so that I can cut and portion it into a croquette. Once you deep fry that, you still have the tenderness of the oxtail, but you have the crispiness of the breadcrumbs, which adds an extra texture to the dish. You're still able to have that stew feel when you're eating it, but with the added texture of the breadcrumbs, it's like another dimension of texture. There's variations of kare kare, but there's literally no other Filipino dish like it.